Oh, just embarrassing, really. We showed a bit of fight and desire at the end. Honestly, because I always try and choose to be half glass full, I'm honestly going to take more than I should from the fact that Oliver Skipp came on for Emerson Royal, right? And showed me more in a 20-minute cameo at left back than Emerson Royal has ever shown me on a football pitch Spurs, by which I mean an ability to play a 5-yard pass, sprint when needed to sprint back, and generally just not look like a calamity. Apart from that, though, the players just look like you said it, that they're on the beach, but there's maybe more to that. It is worrying. It's very worrying.
Yeah, I mean, I saw these traits at Chelsea away where, no fight, looks so lethargic. I like I said before, completely on the beach, but I think it's unforgivable to have such a lack of fight in these big games. I know you've got nothing to play for, but you're going for Chelsea away, you're going to Liverpool away, two grounds where we're historically so bad. You need the biggest load of fight you need to give your maximum to get anything out of these games. And even then, it's a stretch with our records there, and there's just nothing in it. There is just nothing there on the pitch that what we're seeing. The 11 that Ange chose, whether you think it's right or wrong, gaps in the defence, gaps in the midfield, playing out the back was shocking. It's just so easy to attack us. One ball down the middle of the park, one ball out wide, and that's it. They're open on our defence. We were scrambling around to get the balls away with Mickey van der Ven and Kuti Romero. But there's just nothing in there, is there? There's just nothing in there. We're so blunt going forward. Kulusevski can't do anything on the right. Brennan Johnson can't do anything on the left. Whenever Son gets the ball, he's crowded out. I mean, there's just nothing there.
I think one of the big worries for me is that maybe only as long as 2 months ago, I think we were all looking at some of these players like, oh, these are perfect for the Ange system. We've actually got the basis of a really good squad here, young squad, that we just need to make some important changes to. However, within 2 months, suddenly you're looking at a majority of those players and being like, you've kind of given up the ghost here. And sure, we're missing Destiny Udogie, but it can't be as simple as Destiny Udogie's out the side and it crumbles.
Yeah.
There are a lot of players there now that you're wondering. Now, I have to say, I thought Bissouma, other than the fact which frustrates me the most about him, he bottles out 50-50 challenges. But he had a decent game on the half turn. He's the only player we've got really who can take it on the half turn. But you've got to say he's fighting for his Spurs life. Yeah.
No, I completely agree with that.
And, Richarlison came on and ran around a lot, but he's kind of lost faith from Ange, clearly. I've got to be totally transparent and honest with everybody. Sonny has been playing absolutely appallingly. Now, yes, he's a good player. It was a good finish when he got his one chance. Good finish from Richarlison too. But you look at Sonny now and you wonder where he fits into this Ange team. You do, because when he's out wide on the left, he cannot beat a man. He's never going to. It's not his game. And you know that Ange wants a player who's going to beat a man and simply get it across. The other thing I have to stick to and say is, it cannot be right that we have only one way of scoring a goal.
Yeah, well, it seems that way.
What is going on? We only score that one goal that we get to the byline and cut it back, or get in behind the defence and cut it back. The Richarlison goal today. We need to be scoring different types of goals, because opposition know that if they can defend that move, then they're not going to lose the game.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what you're saying about Son, I feel like he can play Ange ball. I feel like for the majority of the season in the number 9, I feel like he's been brilliant. Goal contributions and
not with his back to goal though.
Maybe not, but even in certain games like beginning of the season when we played Arsenal and he scored that goal in between Saliba and Gabriel, he has shown traits that he can do it, and he has shown signs of improvement in that aspect and improvement in link-up play.
I'm not Son out. I don't want Son to be sold, but what I'm saying is, last few months, he's shown his inability to do important things for that team that need to be done. I
get that in the last few months, 100%. I agree with you, but I do think he has shown that aspects over the course of the season and shows that he can do it. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, look, there are a lot of players here that, you said before, a mishmash of different cultures and different systems and different managers. And that's what Ange was, alluded to. This is what every manager has said since coming into Tottenham. We need a painful rebuild. Pochettino said it. Conte said it. Mourinho said it. You're not going to do it with these players, same players, different manager. Every manager comes in and says the same thing in a different way. Yeah. So it comes down to it right now where you need to stick with the manager, you need to give him the players, and then you need to see where it goes. Because if you keep giving these players, I know that we've gotten a lot of new players this season, but it's not going to happen overnight. No. And this is only the first step. You know, we still need to finish this rebuild. We're only in past the first phase of the rebuild.
I agree. And we need those players who come in to be technically proficient and comfortable on the ball at all times, and in key, willing to take the ball under pressure, and also physically strong enough to stand up to set pieces. But I'll add to this today that the new embarrassing thing is, how easy we've been picked off at crosses just going to the back post. We don't mark at the back post. Our fullbacks are not good enough or defensively strong enough or helped out enough by the players in front of them to defend at the back post. And it shouldn't be so easy for a manager like Jurgen Klopp to lick his lips and say, just get to the corner of the box, dink it up to the back, and you'll score your goals. Because the Gakpo goal and the Salah first goal were both scored by that. One of the other goals was a cross that came across very easily, and then a save, and Robertson comes in from the back post. You know, too many ways for Spurs to concede easy goals, and not enough ways for us to score goals.
And you look at this Liverpool team today and the run that they're on. These Spurs players, I know we've lost 3 in a row, now 4 in a row, but these Spurs players should be coming into this game being like, you know what, we haven't won at Anfield for a long time, but this Liverpool team are there for the taking. If we put it on them a bit, and if we show a bit of attacking nous to our game, we can get at this team, we can score some goals. And when we brought on those players in the last stage of the game, I think we did show that. But where was that for the first 70 minutes of the game, 65 minutes of the game? We were so toothless. And that's what we've been for the last 3 games. Well, more than that probably. But against Arsenal, we hardly created a chance. We needed them to give us 2 goals. Against Chelsea, we created little next to nothing apart from that set piece from Cuti Romero. And today, again, before those changes come on, 4-0 down, that's where we start playing our football.
Yeah, but realistically, you can't think about going to Anfield and getting a result because they're on a bit of a downer. When you go to Stamford Bridge, they literally have, what is it? The average squad number on their bench was like 45. And, you know, they only had 11 players are piecing together. They got Trevor Chalobah scoring against us, who they're literally trying to give away. And we couldn't score a goal at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
You know, so we can't expect much more at Anfield. But yeah, sure. I guess like the Arsenal game, we did put in we gave it a bit of fight in the end. But one of the problems I think at the moment is Ange keeps changing it in midfield, and none of it's working. One thing I will say though is Skipp has to start
Left back.
He has to, because at least he can hold his own as a footballer.
Yeah. Look, Mourinho, and I think it was Mourinho that kept talking about the fundamentals to be a footballer, to be a Premier League footballer. And a lot of those players didn't show that on the pitch today, but Ollie Skipp came on and showed what you need, the fundamentals, actually looking like you give a shit, essentially, running back, putting in your challenges, winning your 50-50s. And it's not like he was up against a shit right winger. He was up against Mohamed Salah, one of the best right wingers in Premier League history, and he held his own today. And you can't say the same about Emerson Royal.
No, and look, Emerson Royal, I've said it numerous times, he's a decent bloke, clearly. You know, I now got to the stage where I think his best position is centre-back, because then all he has to do is kind of stand and kick and head. But, you know, this goes back to this thing Ange said, which is I think when you get to the top level of football, their personality and whether they're a decent bloke, you know, is almost as important as the 5% better a different player can be. Not in this case, mate. Not in this case, because his teammates won't pass to him. His teammates won't pass to him. The opposition don't bother marking him. Inverting him is a complete waste of time. Skipp not only did the kind of basics in his 25-minute cameo defensively, but he also got in some decent positions. And you know, when he gets on the ball, he's going to try and find the easiest pass.
It's mad to think about Ollie. It took for Ollie Skipp to come on for Spurs to start creating a few chances.
Exactly.
That's literally what it took today. And you go around spending all this money, and you have Ollie Skipp sitting in the academy, and everyone's been saying all season he's not good enough, get him out the door. And he's the only one that looked like he gave a shit today.
Yeah, he is, and I think it says, actually, I think that injury to Ben Davies is very painful for us, because, you know, people don't rate Ben Davies, but at least he can do the basics, and he's left-footed and he offers balance, and now we're fishing around for anyone we can put in there.
Yeah.
But look, you know, the main takeaway from this is, as a fan base, we shouldn't have to be in situations when we're 3 and 4-0 down to clubs who are around us over and over and over again. And this has been a very bruising month. And you know, it'll be interesting to see what Ange says in his press conferences, because he's got some work to do, because, you know, we're all big fans of Ange, and we get him and we like what he says, but it's not as simple in the Premier League as, oh, you can wait and you can get absolutely pounded each time, because that doesn't happen. Like, you can't, no matter what you say about Guardiola's first season or Arteta's first 2 seasons or Klopp's first 2 seasons, they weren't getting pounded week after week.
Not week after week, but they did take some serious poundings.
Sure,
and I know we have been pounded week after week in the last 3 weeks, but I don't think that's been the case all season.
No, it hasn't. But also, there's stubbornness and then there's stubbornness. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like,
but then it goes
4-0 down, after 50 minutes twice in the last month.
But then it goes back to what we were saying before the game, right? You got to go one or two ways. Do you make changes for the short-term effect, or do you keep going your way and ingrain it into them to the long-term effect? So which way do you go?
No, I do, and it's hard to say it's the right thing at the moment. But Ange at the moment in his interviews is saying a lot like, the key thing now is, the key thing isn't now, it's will we be challenging in a year? Well, he's putting a lot of pressure on himself. Because if we need as many more new technical players as I think we do, he's not going to get them. He's not going to get 10 players through the door.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about, players who can do it for the first team and the depth needed as well. He's not going to get 10 players.
What should the ambition be for next season after seeing the whole season now?
Win something, get into the top 4. Yeah. Something like that. I mean, Ange is talking about trying to go for a title next season. I mean, that is completely deluded. It's completely deluded to go for a title. But if we go on, make a real effort in one of the cups next season, the Carabao Cup, Europa League and FA Cup, and try to get into the top 4 this next season, I think that would be a brilliant season for us. And then if we can keep building year on year like that, then I think we'll be onto something good. And let's be honest, like, we are sitting in 5th now. It's not like we're sitting in mid-table or 8th or 9th. I think do you know what Ange has been saying all season that I'm now so on board with more than ever, is we are not good enough in the front 3.
Yeah.
We're not good enough in the final third because, and it's not just as simple as we're not scoring enough goals. They can't hold the ball up. Yeah. We cannot sustain pressure in the final third at all. And that's why it just keeps coming back on us. And that is why we give away so many corners and concede so many goals. So that's what he's talking about. But realistically, if you want to get the kind of front 3 players who can not only score goals and cross and hold it up, you're looking at spending 200 million alone on 3 players there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably 3 £75 million players.
Absolutely. Well,
I don't know where that money's coming from.
Look, there are players in the market that you can pick up for less than that will be good for us. You look at like a Nico Williams. He's got a release clause in his contract for about 43 million. He's a top one-on-one dribbler.
But and this is the argument I always get into, and I'm sure I will do again while in the fan call-in show, which you should watch, by the way, and call in. We are picking up the scraps from the players that the teams above us don't want. And is it likely that Nico Williams isn't going to be wanted by City, Liverpool, probably United based on wages they pay, Chelsea, maybe even Newcastle? I don't think he'll come to us.
Well, first of all,
I don't think Elise would come to us on that basis.
First of all, we've got so much big wages off the books now. I mean, we're paying Timo Werner 160 grand a week.
Yeah.
Like, if you pick up, I think we're an attractive proposition in terms of the stadium, the training ground, the manager that we have, the style of football that we have. We are an attractive proposition. Yeah, we're not as attractive as an Arsenal and as a Man City and a Liverpool right now. Well, maybe Liverpool are going to go backwards a little bit now with Jurgen Klopp leaving the club. But I do think we're more attractive than a Manchester United than a Newcastle.
I think we should be. I mean, I guess with the Werner thing, it's like 160 grand a week is speculate to accumulate, because if they signed him, I think they wouldn't say we're not going to give you that. They give him 100 grand a week. But look, you've got to, what I hope is that let's use Nico Williams as the example, because he looks like an unbelievable player. You've got to hope that the recruitment team have been on him and his agent and his dad and everyone, and just being like, if you go to one of those teams above us, you won't be playing every week, but you come to us and that left forward spot is yours, and you can be a superstar in the Premier League straight away. That is the thing we have going for us, I think.
But I think Spurs do have a pull. You're seeing the calibre of player that we brought in over the last 2 or 3 years. Akuti Romero's, the Mickey van der Vens of this world, Destiny Udogie, who was the best left back in Italy when we picked him up. We do have a pull, and we can bring in these calibre of players. It's just about the hierarchy, putting their money to their mouth and getting those signings through the door. And we need a hell of a lot of them. That's the problem.
I think we need a Nico Williams and an Eze, or an Elise, and ideally all 3.
I think we need a left winger, right winger, striker.
I like Brennan Johnson,
6.
But I think at this point in his career,
he's not
very
there
much
yet.
a squad. He's very much like a rotation option.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with the people who slag him. I think he's a really good talent, I have to say.
I 100% agree with you. And when I'm looking at next season and how I look as the squad shaping up, on the left-hand side, I don't know where they think Son's going to fit in next season. But I mean, me personally, I want Son to fit in the number 9 position. So I want Richarlison, I'm happy to go. Kulusevski, either stick him in the number 10 or I'm happy for him to go. So on the left-hand side...
Maybe Gio goes and Kulusevski becomes the backup 10.
I think Gio... Yeah, exactly. Gio goes,
Gio goes, Kulusevski.
Yeah, Gio goes, Kulusevski becomes the backup 10. On the right hand side, you need someone to come in and fit and fight with Brennan Johnson. On the left hand side, you need 2 to come in, unless Son is going to be a left winger. If Son is going to be a left winger, then you've got 1 to come in, and then we need a big number 9 as well to come in.
Ivan Toney.
Thing is, I spoke about this yesterday, Ivan Toney, on a video that we did, and I love him as a player. But I just question his mentality and his attitude. All those things that have come out in the past, the way he's been twerking for the big clubs this year. I don't know.
One of those assholes you'd rather be your asshole. Do you know what I mean? Like, is he?
I know what you mean, but if things are going a bit wrong at Tottenham and then a big club comes calling, isn't he going to be the one that's going to be straight out the door straight away?
He's not been playing that well in the last
10 games without a goal now for him.
Yeah. That'll lower his cost. That's for sure.
But look,
maybe Levy's had a word.
Arsenal were very much in for him, and they don't seem to be in for him anymore. And Arteta very values like the mentality and the attitude, and I think that might be a reason why they have overlooked him a little bit.
As well, that's for sure.
So I'm not so sure about Ivan Toney, but in terms of the game, obviously very embarrassing. Nice to see a little bit of a comeback at the end. Good to see Ollie Skipp come on for the first time in a while and show some fight. And I like the fight shown from Richarlison and a bit from Maddison as well. I think it really helped us, get a couple of goals.
Maddison just showed a bit of buzziness that nobody else was really giving us. Won a few free kicks, played some passes quickly, which some of them didn't come off, but you're trying, and that's a positive, I guess. But look, you know what? The major positive right now is the season is only like 2 weeks away from ending, and then once it's done, we can start looking forward again. We can go to pre-season and say, oh, Lucas Bergwall looks like a player. Do you know what I mean? And suddenly hopefully get excited again. But this month has been unbelievably bruising. Yeah, let's be honest, the season can't come to an end quicker than we can all imagine. 2 weeks to go. One of those games is that Man City game, which none of us want us to win anyway. So the season was done a few weeks ago, like I keep saying on this channel. Very hard one to take in terms of the performance today, in terms of the fight shown by the players. And in terms of the last 3 games, losing to Arsenal in the manner that we did, losing to Chelsea in the manner that we did, being 4-0 down at Anfield with about half an hour to go. I mean, it could have got really ugly today, really ugly, if 4-0 isn't ugly enough. I think Liverpool took their foot off the gas.
Yeah. If only the ref just showed us a bit of mercy and pointed to the spot for us, it could have made a game out of it. But wasn't to be.